Hi, I'm Alex Astor. I wrote these books, and I am going to tell you how I went from being rejected by every single publisher to selling millions of copies and having movies made of my books. So I have a longer version of this story pinned to my profile, but I'll try to make this one quicker. I've been writing books since I was 12 years old, and I have also been trying to get published since I was 12. So at 12, I learned that to get traditionally published, you need an agent, and to do that, you need to query. So this is the really cool thing about publishing that I learned when I was 12 is you do not need any connections to have your book published. You really just need to send a cold email, meaning just an email without knowing anyone, to an agent, and you can get published that way. That's the way all of my friends have been published, and that's the way that I have always gotten my agents and gotten published. So I just thought that was so hopeful. The flip side of that is that when you have an industry that doesn't have all of these, I guess, barriers to entry in the traditional sense of like you need to know someone's agent or you need to know someone in the industry, what you get is very slow response times because obviously these agents are getting emails from a lot of people, and you get very high rejection rates. So regardless though, I was 12 years old and my books were obviously really bad, but I was rejected by every single agent, and so I wrote another book and then another book. I wrote 6 different books between high school and then college, and then the day I graduated, I got my first agent, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm set, my dream has finally come true. I went on submission with that book, meaning my agent submitted it to every single publisher, and every single publisher rejected my book. And then suddenly I didn't have an agent anymore. So I wrote another book that everyone rejected. And then I wrote another book, and that became my first published book. It's a middle grade book. The series is called Emblem Island. It's inspired by my Colombian heritage. I love those books so much. They're for a younger audience, so that's why I don't really talk about them too much here now that I write like older books. But if you like 8 to 12-year-old like fantasy islands, I hope that you like Emblem Island. So with that book deal, I was so excited, and the team was so amazing, but unfortunately that book came out in 2020 when a lot of the bookstores were closed, and so a lot of the plans that we had just weren't possible, and in that first year, that book did not sell many copies, like very, very few copies. And then I also found myself without an agent because I kept writing and rewriting a book that I really believed in. And that book was called Lightlark. So without an agent, I decided I'm going to really try with this book. I wrote the book that I wanted to read. I put everything that I loved in fantasy into Lightlark. And so I rewrote the book over 6 months, and I queried agents again. So I cold emailed agents, and I was able to get a new agent, and we went on submission